Hey everybody, Chemire here, and just gonna squeeze in this at the last minute here, a little bit of gaming. I almost didn't even do it, but I decided to keep my makeup on so I could show it, but it's pretty much gone. It's hard to get a good shot of it with the lighting, but yeah, the eyeliner has faded a little bit. It's not looking that great, but I'm about to just remove it here after I'm done with this, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's been another pretty hectic day where my life is getting used to a new level of pain and disability, and I'm having to kind of just be in the middle of it as a disabled person myself. So it's pretty fucking exhausting. And I've barely had any time to do something like this lately, so it really has just sucked. Okay, so where were we? That's right, we were doing the caves underneath the bike path here. And then of course my cat immediately wants to be in my fucking lap. I guess I could try to have her be in my lap if she really wants to that badly. Could try. Okay. The encounter rate in this area is obscene. Oh, she's being sweet. She's not just going right into my lap right now. She's right on my arm. Here, baby. Do you want to come up here? You can come up if you want. There you go. I know that's what she wanted, so I'll let her do it for a while. Fortunately, I'm laying back on my futon, so it's a better orientation for me to be able to cuddle her. Aw, she's such a sweetie. Calicos are really hard to raise, but I think it's really worth it when they get older. It's the first calico I've ever had. And her name is Chemire. So calamari and calico portmanteau is the word. It's a combination of two words into one word. That's what a portmanteau is. Chemire. It has a really good ring to it, doesn't it? Yeah, she kneaded on me earlier, which is just like one of the sweetest things a cat can do to you, to say like, hey, I really feel safe and happy with you. But yeah, I mean, it's been a really good, last week was really good. It was really difficult, but are you lost too? No, it doesn't matter. Let's have a quick Pokemon battle. So my peer support person took me to the beach, you know, took me to the coast here last week. And that was really nice. And then she bought me this big slab of salmon. It was like $28. And she just paid for that for me out of her own money. It's super sweet of her. So I think that was part of why it was a really good week. I felt really supported. But it was a very challenging week too at the same time, like with points where I got pretty frustrated. But just kind of had to keep going. And then, I mean, I guess I'll just mention that also, I know Velo doesn't really like me talking about transition stuff as much, so I'm trying to like talk about something else a bit in the video, but you know, when I was forced to be a boy, my cat is leaning into me really heavily here. Yeah, when I was forced to be a boy, it was mostly gay men who were attracted to me of any kind of group or, you know, whatever you can think of. And I just never really cared for it very much. But now that I'm transitioning, there's been a lot of straight men who have been interested. And I found out that I really do enjoy it on some level. Certainly way more than gay men. So it's been pretty fascinating. But yeah, I mean, that's part of why I think it was a good week, and that's pretty much the only reason I'll mention that at the moment. She's laying like right against my arthritic shoulder, like she always has to. But yeah, there's this one guy I tend to fixate and focus on like one or two, a couple people or something like that. And he's lives in the Midwest. I'm not going to say where. And you know, that's part of how I kind of phrase things, is that I'm a Midwest trans girl living in the West Coast. So that's part of why I end up finding some people from the Midwest and everything. But yeah, it's been, I'll just say one word, sexy. I'll just say that and I'll move on. I won't go into depth about what that actually entails or anything like that. And yeah, it's fun to kind of have a new experience with intimacy and to be at the point where things you never would have considered, you know, that you're going to experience for the first time, you know, things like that. So I'm going to just leave it at that point. I'm not going to go in depth, like I said. But yeah, it's fascinating, so I'm gonna move on from that subject, mostly out of respect to Velo. Like, I feel like if I really want to talk about it at length, I have my own channel. But yeah, I'm feeling really glad that I decided to just make myself sit down and play, even though I feel like I should just be in bed. And it is one thing I really like about Pokemon is that, I mean, it was made for a mobile platform, so it's very much, you can just put it down at any point. It's not like you have to keep playing. It's pretty easy to just save and move on. So I like that I could just maybe play for half an hour is kind of all I'm looking at right now. Because yeah, I do have acupuncture in the morning, so I need to be ready to go. But yeah, I really could use acupuncture, it will help. Just doing the chores earlier flared up my pain a little bit. And that, again, that's what's so difficult, is that I'm having to just kind of push through and do more because my wife can do less. And so it ends up flaring up my pain, and then it ends up that, like, instead of sitting down to play my game like an hour ago or something, now I'm doing it now, right? So it's really, and then, you know, so many times I've wanted to play in the evening like this, and it just doesn't happen because I just go to bed or I'm in too much pain. So yeah, my psychotherapist asked me, what does it look like, you know, when you have a physical assistant, you know, because that's what I'm working towards right now. And I should have it, and being really conservative, I'm hoping it's soon, but like a couple months, I would hope, for this to finally fall through. And what it would look like is, maybe you can kind of see where I'm going with this. I would have sat down about an hour ago, probably, and been able to enjoy and just, you know, relax as someone that's disabled and already did some things throughout the day. And my pain would not be as flared up. But instead, right, what am I having to do? I'm curious if Nabiana can make this. Nope. Yeah, I do like that I called it Flock Star because it reminds me of the Pokedex entry. If you remember when I first did it, I don't know if you saw the video, but as far as the avian Pokemon go, you know, this line is very much about being in a group, you know, in a flock, and like, what is your place in the flock? And so, you know, he's the Flock Star, right? That is one of my favorite ways to name a Pokemon for sure. Because then I feel like I remember more about the Pokemon. I can be like, oh yeah, Flock Star, you know, and this Pokemon, like I just said. And I'm way more prone to remember it. Ugh, she just had to move. So now it's starting to hurt a little bit. I'm gonna have to probably kick her off of me soon. And so again, you know, if I had a physical assistant, then could actually spend more quality time with my cat. I wouldn't have to kick her off of me potentially because I'm in more pain. And I just, again, it's just ridiculous to be in this dumb country. Like, we're a first world nation, we're the richest country, but yeah, you can just suffer and flare up your pain and we don't care, or we're gonna make you wait until you actually get the help you need instead of actually providing it as a first world nation, which we, you know, damn well could, but we just can't be bothered. We'd rather fight a war and make housing go up in price than to actually help our people more. So, you know, tough titty, you just deal with it. And I'm just like, no, I don't just deal with it. I can endure and, you know, keep being patient only because I know at some point I'm gonna get what I need. And if that wasn't a distinct possibility, then I'd be raising even more hell. Because, yeah, I've had enough of laying in a corner being in misery. For no reason or anything whatsoever. I'll move on from the subject as well, but I just have to complain again. You know, like, I serve a pandemic line, and I was literally, like, on the front line for some of it. I mean, literally putting the patient that's, you know, routed to the ER into the room that is there because they're testing to see if they have COVID, because it's very likely they have COVID. So we're quarantining these patients to this location on the weekend, working overtime. Literally grabbing their vitals, like wearing the whole suit to go in there and take care of them. And then literally holding open the baggie after the nurse swabs the patient for her to put in there. Like, that is how close to the front line that I've been. And so it's a really dumb country that doesn't take care of people that risk way more than they should have for what they have gotten out of it. And just, I suppose we're fortunate that I have such a sense of duty and that I was willing to put myself before others, and that at the end of the day, I'm still happy I did it, while still knowing I deserve far better than this. So it's especially stupid that this is, again, where I was going with this. Like, it's really dumb that this is what I'm dealing with. I literally was the physical assistant taking care of XYZ patient, and now you're making me wait so that I can have what I need when it's something I gave to people, you know, not just for money, but because I actually cared and I wanted to take care of people in this world. So it's a really cruel, stupid world. But yeah, I'll give something funnier here off of that note. So McDonald's had this special going on for healthcare workers during the time of the pandemic. You could get a free Happy Meal with your choice of what was in it, kind of thing. Something to that effect. So, you know, I'm really pissed that, and I still am on some level, that John Doe and Janetta Doe got to just sit in their home, get paid more than I did, risking nothing. You know, it's insulting, to be frank with you, right? So I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm just gonna really abuse this. So Velo and I go to McDonald's after McDonald's, right? And we just hide the meal underneath our seat, you know, and just keep going to every location we can think of, because there's obviously plenty of them, right? And we just get a bunch of free food, and I, you know, I don't hoard it all for myself. I share it with my friends, right? But I'm really a bitch about it, you know? Like, oh, you're gonna pay me less, and meanwhile they can sit on their ass and, you know, like, they don't have to be exposed to COVID, and they can sit there in the corner and be like, it's just a flu, you know, and people aren't actually dying, and they don't actually have to be there and see people dying and see people, you know, suffering and all this crap, and they get paid more than me. So I guess the moral of the story is, next time there's a pandemic, I say we force the rich people to be the ones that actually take care of people and be on the front frickin' line. Because then I think we'd really learn something. I don't think we learned enough out of the pandemic as a general populace. I don't think we really took it to heart. We weren't really there on the front lines, so many of us. We don't really understand the full implication. So I'm not sure if there's anything else to explore in here. There might not be anything else. But I'm trying to figure it out. Maybe... Who are you? I guess, hold on, we gotta get into a battle first. Okay, so this is who I'm supposed to find. I'm Mira. I was catching Pokemon, and then I got lost. I'm so scared. Please take me to the exit. Okay. She'll keep my Pokemon healthy all the time. I'm glad I kept looking around because I was... If I wasn't talking as much, I probably would have just decided to move on sooner. And I don't think I would have been able to find Mira. Look at all these bronze whores over here. That's a lot of bronze whores. Oh my gosh, Kadabra's just a glass cannon. Okay, let's see here. Am I going back the way I came? When it's that often of an encounter, I sometimes get turned around like that. Oh. You look like you might. I don't know what he said. I accidentally skipped it. In deep tunnels and caves, there are a couple things you're sure to see. Zubat and Rune Maniacs. Oh, Aerial Ace. Yeah, we're definitely going to learn that one. Never misses. So it's basically just a better wing attack. Yeah, I've been getting wheezing in my nostril more often. Again, it's been annoying. I can't wait to live somewhere else. I took my health sincerely. You know, as a healthcare worker, I figured it's hypocritical to not actually work at my health wholeheartedly and sit there with a patient and try to tell them or help them figure out what they need to do. So I took it sincerely, but for that, it feels like I have to be punished. Like, oh, well, you just have to deal with pollution then. Because we can't bother to give you a better footing after risking everything and you could be dead. But there is no item over here. Is it a hidden item? Yeah, that's what I figured. Tiny mushroom. Okay. But yeah, I used to be able to run 4 miles in 30 minutes in burns. He can pollute this many lungs in this many minutes. Which one's really worth your time more, America? But yeah, I think the most annoying thing of all for me is that I couldn't go swimming this weekend because my wife can't take me. And I'm out of rides through the resource that I found that can give me rides. But I honestly just felt grateful because it was 9 rides they gave me this month. So it's not like I didn't have a lot of rides and I wasn't able to get to where I wanted to go most of the time. But it still just sucks, you know. An able-bodied person was able to go swimming this weekend like every other weekend when they wanted to, because again, it's a country for able-bodied people by able-bodied people that doesn't provide for people that aren't able-bodied adequately enough so that they can actually enjoy their life. But on the good side, I was able to go for like 3 walks, 3 different days. But I think, again, it would have been better for me to go swimming. There's no resistance really on the body, gravity resistance when you're swimming. It's really good for the joints. It's really good for your body. And I've tried to argue with It's called Ride Source here. They give me rides. I'm like, you know, this is medically necessary. Like, if I don't make it swimming this or that week, then I'm going to be more irritable. I'm going to be in more pain. And they said, well, you have to have a water therapist there with you for us to be able to cover it. And I understand, you know, why that's the case for them. That they want to try to justify this or rationalize away my own need to have a life. You know, insurance has to, for insurance purposes, you have to prove that it's, you know, a medical professional, a medical appointment. Otherwise, we can't get it covered as Ride Source. I get it. But it's really stupid that it's arranged that way. Richest country on the planet can easily provide for someone so that they can go swimming if it's better for their health. It's better for the country. Like, whatever can be better for people's health means you're gonna have a better freaking country. And if you cannot provide it to them, then you're gonna have a crappier country. Period. So I did go to my doctor and I asked him, you know, can I get a water therapist? You know, I was just like, okay, well, we'll try to get a water therapist then. Maybe if I argue out insurance enough, they'll cover it, and then eventually Ride Source will have to cover it too. It's so ridiculous. Or, you know, I had one resource I was trying to get, you know, something out of basically, and they're just like, prove that you don't make any money with a piece of paper that proves that you don't make money. And there's just, you know, I've tried to figure it out, and there's really no way that you can prove that you don't make any money if you actually don't make any money. Just the ridiculous things you have to go through when you and if you actually become, I guess it's not a question of if, because at a certain age everyone's going to be disabled. So, but yeah, the stupid things you have to go through when you're disabled in this country. I don't know, prove to me that you actually value that I risked my life for your country. Can I ask a question? And I just want to reiterate, I don't want something just handed to me. You know, I would take an opportunity if I was given it, because that's what I've earned. But the land of opportunity became the land of opportunistic capitalism, right? Okay, I think we're finally getting to the point where we're gonna get out of here soon. It would be cool. It would be cool if you could have your friend following with you. So instead of an NPC, you know, Velo, you know, Velo here with me. Yeah, I feel like there's so much more they can do with the old formula. To make it more about what Pokemon was really always supposed to be about. To me, it wasn't about reinventing the formula to a ridiculous amount or degree. It was just about further connectivity with that formula. You know, Gen 2 comes out, and then in Japan they have mobile phones. So they say, okay, we're gonna have connectivity on the mobile phone, and it's, you know, a very primitive form of it. It's not released in America, right? So you got this sense that as, you know, technology would progress, Pokemon would become more a full vision of what it, you know, was trying to be. So I often feel like they've just scratched the surface of this. Like, you know, the Friend Safari in Gen 5. Well, that was really cool, you know, and I wish that they would do something similar. And it was cool because it was so much connectivity. You know, it finally shut down, but literally on Discord, there were communities of people doing the Friend Safari up until the very end. You know, and Gen 5 came out how long ago at this point? And why is that? Because of the connectivity. You know, it's a really fun way to get a really good Pokemon, but you also get this fun interaction with the community. And you get to meet some people, and you get to kind of hang out and enjoy this together in a way that you never could, you know, with just a cell phone. in Japan, you know, when Gen 2 comes out. But now it feels more like, here's a raid, and you're together, you know, doing this Pokemon thing, so here's the raid, and then meanwhile, you're off playing the game, right? And there's just so much more connectivity they could be bringing into this. You know, so for right now, it could be, you know, Velo beside me, and we could be going through this together in some way. But instead, they're more concerned with, so, you know, you battle the Pokemon in this way now, it's not turn-based anymore, and like, blah, 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 and I'm just like, where's the connectivity with other people in the world? Where's really what Pokemon's about? And then they tell me, well, just enjoy the raid, you know, like you want that, then go. And I'm just like, well, Pokemon Go, you know, that's what Pokemon Go really had, is oh, we could do the raid together. And then they just, again, they brought it to the main line series, and just rolling my eyes, you know, just like, excuse me, you know, this. Okay, Super Potion, that was worth it. Yeah, it's really easy to get lost in here if you don't pay attention enough. Yeah, honestly, I would just say, if you can get an escape rope at this point in the game, just get the escape rope. Don't even bother trying to get out of here, just escape rope out of here. But yeah, after this battle, I'm just gonna give it a rest.